there's like a sort of epidemic, I would say, among writers, men writers, to think that I need their help. Okay, disclaimer, I'm gonna talk about my experience, yada yada yada, but it's always men, and it's always men that are way older than me. For those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Lullaby, I'm a French writer, and for as long as I've been, especially on social media, men have told me how to write. And I'm not talking about friends, because trust me, I have men friends, okay? I understand them. I'm not talking about friends, and I'm not talking about me needing an advice, asking for an advice, asking for an opinion. No, I'm talking about me, talking about my life as a writer, my career, my progress, my process, my books, and some guy, old guy, that I do not know, that I have never talked with, who doesn't follow me, and who clearly has no idea who I am, comes and give me their peace of mind. There really is this, I called it an epidemic in the beginning of the video, there really is this thing of old writers, men, thinking that no matter where they are in their writing career, and no matter where you are in your writing career, have this I can teach you attitude. I have something to teach you, and you have to listen. And no, if I didn't ask for anything, I don't have to listen, to be completely honest. And the problem is that most of the time they either don't know what they're talking about, don't make sense, are patronizing. Like, chill. I am completely okay with the idea of a community. I think it's super important to have a writing community. I think that being a writer shouldn't be as lonely as we make it. We should all be friends, and we're all co-workers. I don't see anyone as my competition. I want to be happy for all of you when you achieve something, but some of you don't know how to do that. You think that you have something that others don't have, when you have no idea what they were, who they are, what they've been through, sometimes where they are in their career. You know, I've already been told by some old guy, well, if you think like that, you're never gonna be published. I've been published 3 times, and I already was when this happened. If you think that that is writing, I mean, you're never gonna be published. I am. You just gotta read my bio. So here's some example of what I'm talking about. And I know that I'm not alone. And I know that it's not the culprits are always old men, okay? In my experience, yada yada yada. It was always old white men, okay? And as far as I know, not queer, okay? But I know that it has happened, like when it comes to the victim, I don't like that word, but in this context, when it comes to the person who is being taught involuntarily, without their consent, I don't know, you know what I mean. The person who is being taught is not always a woman, it's very often a woman, it's very often a young woman, and I think I saw it a lot more in the self-publishing area, whether it's older self-published author that think that they know better, or traditionally published author that are just, I have something to teach you because you're not a real writer. You know what I mean? Okay. Here are a few things that happened to me, to give you an example, and to show you that it's actually not, like, these people, they don't want to help you. They just want to show that they know. It's an ego thing, because you didn't ask for their help. Like, really, I swear. A little while ago, last year, I think, I made a video that I first posted on Instagram and then here on YouTube. It's a video that explained why you should be your number one fan as yourself, why you should be in love with your work and what you do. In this video, I explained that you actually don't know who will support you once you are published. Like, I have people in my life that never bought my book, don't even speak about it, never talked to me about it. And when I talked about it, they acted like they didn't hear. The same way that I have friends that I had not talked in years, literally, and sent me a congratulations text when I was published. So that was the whole thing. That was the, you should be your #1 fan because you need to love what you do because you don't know who's gonna love it for you. Okay? I receive comments on YouTube. I'm well aware that social media has made it so much more made it easier, so much more easier. I don't know if all of them would come to our face to say that, although that's for later. I received this comment saying, have you ever thought that there are people who would love to support you, but they can't because they're dead? Excuse me, sir? Are you alright? I don't think he was, because when I answered, first of all, that's not what I'm talking about, and second of all, be careful when you talk about this thing because you don't know my relationship with death. Maybe I'm traumatized by someone I lost, maybe I'm afraid of it. You can't talk about something like that, especially talking about one of your relatives being dead and cannot see you succeed in life. Like, you can't talk. Maybe I'm super sad that one of my relatives couldn't see where I am now, can't see where I am now. You don't know my life. And so I said that. I said, one, not what I was talking about, dude. And two, in a very polite way, I swear. And two, be careful, you do not know what my triggers are. You do not know me. Came then one of the longest comments I've ever received and that I have not read until the end, I swear, because I couldn't. It was paragraphs upon paragraphs about how I was wrong, how death could feed my work and that I needed to accept it and to live it and relive it. And he talked about all the relatives he lost in his life because he's old, he lost a lot of people, and how it fueled his stories. And he started to talk about his books and how I should take example of that. And he told me how I could, you know, channel that, like his pain through my work, and like that it was something that we should share. And it was, dude, it's literally a 2-minute video. Calm down, I don't know you. Last year, I think, also last year or the year before, I don't remember, I posted a post on, I think back then it was still Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter in a while. I think it was Twitter. So I posted something asking people their favorite tropes. Yes, this is a question. The person did not answer that at all. I think it was the favorite trope. I think that's what it was, but it was about trope. I asked my question, and turns out in French, I wrote it in French, and I made a grammatical error, which I do pretty often. And I don't mind people telling me, you made a mistake. That's not how you write it. That's how he started his response. That's not how you write it, that's how you write it. So far, so good, right? And then it added, and you dare to call yourself an author for one grammatical mistake. I answered. I said, oh my God, thank you. If only there was a job in the publishing industry, like people who were paid to correct us. He never answered to me. However, some people were a bit more aggressive than I was in the comments and defended me in the responses. More than comments? I don't know. A bit more aggressive. And he was answering to them because I think that's what he was looking for, you know, aggressivity. And he learned through this process. Keep in mind, he was published, although he said, so I don't know through which way. He was published, and he figured out while they were talking that, yeah, there are people who are paid to correct your book. And so he got scammed by the persons who published him. So he blocked all of us, and he never answered, never apologized, never admitted that there was something he didn't know about. Years ago, years ago, a book was released in France. If you're French, maybe you remember that. I'm sorry to revive such a horrible memory. There was a book, I think it was a graphic novel, that was, or comics, that was published and that was very racist and with the pedophile main character. She was from the jungle, half naked, with big boobs and big butt, and she was sleeping, she was black, of course, because, and she was sleeping with an underage white guy. And it was like sex scenes, like everything, porn, almost. Of course there was a drama, because it's not a drama, it's a fucking issue in the French industry. Please, please, like, being racist shouldn't be part of our culture. Stop that. Being pedophile either. These are two topics that people have a problem understanding and grasping, and that scares me. So I was part of it. I don't remember what I said. And a guy came to me and in the comments, in the responses, I was on Twitter too, and made a whole thread about the liberty of expression. First of all, if you have the liberty to write horrible shit, or to say horrible shit, I have the liberty to call you out on it. Like, it goes both ways, buddy. Like, and then the whole concept of liberty of expression, some of you don't really understand it. It's not really it's not really the liberty going against this liberty to tell you to shut up when you're a horrible human being. Why are you defending racists and pedophiles? That's what concerns me more. So he went on a whole rant about writing and the writing industry and how I was supposed to learn from these things. And he called me a wannabe author, I think, or so-called author, thinking he had did that. And I was like, sure. I didn't answer him because what the fuck? Please, dude, what the fuck? There was this one time where I don't know how to call that, conference, I'm not sure. In French we call that une table ronde, a round table. Basically it's during a literary event. It was the premiere of my novel Toi, moi et l'Apocalypse being published. So it was the first time people were seeing me, and I was invited to have this chat with another writer, which I love, and I completely freaked out and I couldn't talk with him. I'm still bummed about that. And we were talking, we were being interviewed, you know, it wasn't even something where the public was asking questions. We were being interviewed, we were talking about young adult fiction, because that's what my book is about. And so we both talk about diversity, representation. I talked about the fact that both my characters are queer, the fact that one of them suffer from very severe anxiety disorders. I talked about seeing myself. I talked about growing up. You know, it was super, super, super interesting. I was terrified, by the way. Anxiety, you know. My character is not the only one suffering from it, okay? So I have very few memories of this moment, but I remember getting up. My publisher came to me and said, "That was awesome, you did great." I was like, cool, because I already forgot half of it. I don't know what happened. Where are we? And then she left to go see something, talk to someone, and there's a guy, like, I want to say old enough to be my grandfather, but my grandfather was almost 100 years old before he died, so he was not that old. But like, little grandpa with gray hair, a lot of gray hair, and he was like cute little old dude, and I was like, that's so cool. He came here and he sat through a whole discussion about books that are not written for him at all, and I thought that was cool, that was awesome. So he intercepts me, he tells me that he's a writer and that he really enjoyed this and that he would love to be published before he dies, which first, a little too much information, just saying. And then he went on a whole thing to explain to me how I should write my books, like literally. Because he started asking me questions, how did you write, how you process? We talked about the process a little bit, and it was like, I don't understand when you said you don't have a process. And I'm like, I don't have a process. I don't have a method. I've always been chaotic, you know? And, well, he started to explain to me why I should have a process and why it would be better for me in my career that I had and not him, and started to tell me how I should treat my characters, like very subtly explaining that them being queer could be a problem, you know what I mean? And that talking to me about the industry and how it worked, and I was like, okay. My publisher came to save me. She grabbed my arm and was like, we need to be somewhere, which was basically true. I needed to go to a book signing, but she was like, I feel like I saved you from something. And I was like, yes. I didn't even know what to say because I'm not good at communication when I talk. You know what I mean. Communication really isn't my thing. Talking scares me, talking to people. It's easier for me to talk to a camera and to write than to have a conversation with people. And even if I have a conversation with you, just know that I am terrified. I don't want to be here, not because I don't like you, but because I feel like you're gonna hate me at the end of this. I think I'm stupid. Like, it's a whole lot of process. Just know that when I talk to you, there are words coming out of my mouth, but there are more words in there, and sometimes it's hard to pay attention to what's come out of there when here it's an absolute chaos. Anyway, so I didn't know what to tell him. I didn't know what to answer him. What am I supposed to do? These are just a few examples. I feel like I've already talked too much and that I didn't say anything particularly interesting. But why? Beside hoping to have a little tap on your ego's shoulder, that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean. Why? What does it bring you to tell to a writer that she should write better if she wants to be published when she is and you're not? Why do you feel the need to go to someone and think, I do not know this woman, I do not know her life, I don't even know if she's published. She's calling herself a writer on social media, that's enough for me. And because she's young, she doesn't know what she's talking about, and she is obviously not published. So I'm going to teach her. I'm going to tell her what she should do, how she should do it, when she should do it. I have another one. That's my dad, by the way. You know what? I love my dad so much, okay? He's the only man I trust and the only man I love. I will ever trust and ever love. Okay? But he doesn't understand a shit thing about the industry and the writing and publishing industry. Obviously, because he's not a writer. He's my biggest fan. My number one fan. He talks about me and my book to everyone. He actually read it, which he never does. So he's a man. He's a good man. He's my dad. But back in the day where I wasn't published, one day we were talking about being published, about me wanting to be published, not wanting to work in another field than writing. And the thing with my dad is that he's very short-tempered. I don't know if that's how he can get a little bit annoyed very quickly, and he has a big loud voice that he doesn't always control. And so he started telling me that if I really wanted it, that if I was really motivated, I really wanted to be published, well, I would go to the publishing house in Paris. Houses in Paris. I would print my book, my 300 pages book. I would go to the offices, the buildings in Paris. I would knock. give them my book and say that I do not leave until I have an appointment. Yeah, bless his soul, but that's not how it works. First of all, I couldn't even explain to him that some publishing houses don't even have offices and buildings. Some people are freelance. Like, can you imagine? Knock knock, I know you are taking a shower, but I have an amazing urban fantasy that I want you to read. That's not how it works. Can you imagine if everyone did that? His brain couldn't compute the idea that no, I was doing the right thing. It just wasn't working yet. So yeah, I don't really know where I was going with that. I think I got a little bit out of, I don't know, derailed from my thoughts, maybe. But I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get why. We can all learn from each other. That's not what I mean. But when you talk about community and learning from each other, there's actually an each other part, you know? It's not, I know, you shut up. I know, I am not published, but I know better than you. And it's annoying because, yeah, I'm sorry, it's completely sexist. It's mostly men talking to women and talking about how we don't know what we do, how we don't know what we write, how we don't know how to write, and how we need someone. Like even if I don't say it, even if I don't know it, I need a man to come in a bright, shiny armor and save me from the publishing industry and teach me the ropes. I have been writing since before I knew how to write. That's what I always say. From the second I knew how to talk, I told stories. Sometimes through stories that I invented and that I was telling to people, through lies also a lot. Then I started writing and it was done. I was writing all the time. Then I learned how to use the computer. It was even worse. I wrote billions of things that I've never finished, but I was doing that all day. I discovered video games and I started playing video games with story or storytelling, a way of storytelling, like The Sims. I made movies. I made fan fictions with them. I made not graphic novels, but I created with them more than I played. And now when I play video game, I always tell to the people that gift me video games that I do not want something that I can play with others. Like, I don't care. I want a story. I don't care if there's very little gameplay involved. I want to be told a story. And I want to be able to study these stories. During my college years, I studied literature a lot and I loved it. My exam at the end of high school, my highest grade was French, was literature. I studied translation because I wanted to become a translator. I wanted to translate fiction books. And I did other things. I did music. I wrote two, I don't know how you say that. I did theater and I wrote 2 pieces. For this, I worked in translation for a thing or two. I was writing. It wasn't awesome, but I did an internship in movie production, documentary production, and I was writing some scripts for them. Like, I know my shit. I wrote fan fictions about the Jonas Brothers on a French blog company like Skyrock. I have been deep in there. I've been on Wattpad. I've been on Plume d'Argent, which is French, I think. Like, I've been everywhere. I've done everything. I've written books. I've sent to editing house. Before being published, I met and talked with editors and with writers about my work. I won writing contests. I did all this before my 30s. So what I mean is that I'm mature. I know what I'm doing. It doesn't mean that I have nothing to learn, and it doesn't mean that I don't need help, because I do, and my career is still pretty young. Like, I have 1 novel published and 2 short stories. Like, I'm still starting. And I have a huge imposter syndrome, like to talk shit to me, okay? I don't need your help. I know how to do it. If I needed advice, if I needed lessons, I would contact the editors that I know, the publishers that I know, the people in my work circle that I know. I'm a librarian, by the way. I know shit ton about books in general. Like, I was a bookseller for like 5 months before COVID. I was thankful for COVID to hit, but that's a whole other story. I know what I'm talking about. If I need help, I'm also big enough, because I'm a big girl now, I'm in my 30s, I know how to ask for help and I know who to ask. And I'm more than happy to talk about it with people. I do it a lot online. I love following hashtags about writing and talking and answer to questions, or send a little thumbs up, little congratulations to writers being published that I don't know. They're like, congratulations, awesome. So why do you feel the need to come to me and give me a lesson about a book you don't know and a way of publishing you don't know? Because most of them are not traditionally published when they are. And they're not self-published either. I think you call it vanity publishing in English. Maison d'édition à compte d'auteur for the French ones. Most of the time they got scammed. Whether they realize it or not, they got scammed. And maybe they're just a little pissed off about it. I feel like these writers might have a bigger imposter syndrome than me. And that whole shit show turned into an ego the size of my studio apartment, which is not that big, the size of France. Because of that, they feel like they have to prove something. But since so far they may have not succeeded in proving it to a traditional publishing house, which, by the way, maybe they can. I'm not saying that they are bad writers, or I'm not saying that what they think doesn't matter. It's just, I didn't ask for anything. Talk about this with other writers and don't be patronizing. You don't need that. Like, this all ego boost that you need won't be filled by you telling a young lady that you don't know that she is doing things wrong and you know exactly how she would do it right, even though you will never read her book and have no idea what she's writing about. Maybe they mean something to people who write something like you, but they can't mean anything to me. We are not the same writers. We are not on the same path at all. And it's okay. And maybe we can learn from each other. That I'm completely okay with. But maybe, just maybe, if someone doesn't ask you anything, don't expect to know better. Don't expect that they need your help regardless of what they say or think. I don't need the help of old men telling me how to write my book. Because turns out, and I'm the first one surprised by it, don't get me wrong, turns out what I'm doing is good. Turns out I know what I'm doing. Can we just talk about writing without making it a fight? Without making it that one of us knows better when we clearly don't? I don't know better than anyone. You don't know better than anyone. You have some knowledge maybe that I might be interested in, that I will ask you to give me, or that I will ask on social media, and you can answer it because I asked for it. But if I don't, kind of mean I don't care. I was not even thinking about you, and that's not gonna make your career go up. That's mostly gonna make us not want to talk to you ever. And usually they are the type of people saying that nobody cares about their work and that the writing community is so mean. Well, maybe stop patronizing us. Maybe stop being a little bitch in our comments. Maybe stop being mean. Maybe stop thinking that you're know-it-all literary-wise and everyone are just sheep waiting for your knowledge. We were not waiting for you. Alright. It was supposed to be a short video. It's super long. I don't know what to do with it, and I don't think it was interesting in any ways, but thank you for watching it. I hope I didn't make too many enemies. If some writers mansplain writing to you, please feel free to tell me in the comments. Feel free to talk to me about your book. See, I asked for it. You can. Feel free to do whatever you want. Thank you for watching this video. See you next time.